right about. Oh, it's live now. Okay.
Live. Oh, be good.
Hey, do you like this shirt, Brian?
Chicago.
It's my new sweatshirt. It's the Bulls, though. You don't have to not. You don't have to hate on it.
It's not the.
Don't
If it
have
was
to
the
hate
Bears,
on it.
it'd be something different.
No. Okay. Oh, Vicky, I forgot to ask you. Where are you? What's your town location?
South of the
Just say
Grapevine.
Los Angeles.
Just Los Angeles? Is that what you said? Oh, what? Did you freeze? Go ahead. Say it again. South Los Angeles?
Just Los Angeles, yeah. I'm in the San Fernando Valley, but that's part of LA. So
I like to call it the South Bay. Is that okay? I refer to everything in North California terms. So, and I try and show my Oregon ignorance. My or ignorance.
Or ignorance. That's
My
right.
Or ignorance. Okay, there we go. Scott's in the Scott, like Scott Bedley's in Irvine, but he's the South Bay. Terrio, South Bay. Ed Campos Jr., North Bay.
Yeah.
All right, John. It's been a while. Okay, here we go. Ready? This is like, I feel like this is a real podcast, not like that fake one I do with Scott Bedley. John, edit here. Hello, and welcome to the Steam Team. What's going on, people? It's John Samuelson coming to you live from Portland, Oregon, home of, well, we just coined a term, or ignorance, because I'm going to act like I don't know anything about California geography, but I really do. But it's like a little ironical stuff that's going on here. But hey, unlike last episode, we have our co-host here, Brian Briggs. And Brian, where are you located?
I am in the Sacramento area that's Northern California, north of the Grapevine.
North Bay. He's in the East Bay.
East Bay?
Yeah. Yes. Sacramento's the East Bay. And we have a special guest. Now, Brian, are we going to start to have special guests on the Steam Team?
That could happen. I have no problems with that.
Okay, we could have. We keep saying that maybe we will. We keep thinking like Mr. McKnology is going to come on, but then remember that one time we were all geared up to do the podcast, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm out shopping with my kids." So then
I had my Sphero all ready to go, my Mini.
I know. Look, where's my Sphero Mini? I've got my Sphero Mini around here too. I know. It's funny because when I was just listening to, we just put up Tara Linney's podcast, and I think I kept holding up stuff that was right, but like, look, oh, it's my Ozobot Evo. It's right there. Oh, look, here's my new Lego person with a dolphin. Why is Batman wearing a swimsuit with like the dolphin? I don't know, and a little wave runner, but that's what it is. This is Series 2 Batman figures. All right, well, we're excited to have on our special guest. Much better than Mr. McKnology in my book, because she filled out the Google Doc and did everything that we ever could have wanted from her. And we've wanted to have her on the show for how many years, Vicky? We threatened to have you on Techlandia, like 1 million, right?
For a while, yeah.
It's been like 4 years since my first Q, probably my first annual Q. But anyway. It has been probably. So we are proud to welcome Vicky Sedgwick from down in LA, or as we like to refer to it, the South Bay. And Vicky, tell us a little bit about your job.
I'm a K-8 technology teacher at a small Episcopal school. And I see each grade twice a week. And half the year we spend on computer science type stuff. And the other half we spend on applications like Word, well, not Word, because we're all in Google, so Google Docs and Google Sheets and things like that.
That sounds good. Now, would you consider yourself a TOSA?
Well, I do the tech support also for the school, and I do the school website and the yearbook and if it's anything tech related.
That's kind of like all of us. I was going to say, do you have a Starbucks Gold card? That's the truth. If you have a Starbucks Gold card, you might be a TOSA.
Yeah, we have a Starbucks right next door to our school.
So nice. Oh my gosh. That would just be known as John's office in Beaverton right there. Where's John? You know where he is. He's out with the Trenta Orange refresher. It's good to have you, Vicky, on, and we're going to talk a little bit of one of my favorite things. Now, can I ask you, Do you get the Hummingbird update, either one of you?
Yep.
Did you get the thing from today, the email from today?
Yes, I did. So
okay. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're good. We have Katie Henry is one of the people, and she's coming up to our Portland IPDX conference next week. And a week from today, we're going to have her up for our district doing some Hummingbird robotics training. But I video chatted with her last week, and she's like, I've got this thing coming out for the microbit. I think I'm going to bring it up for you. So the microbit, we've decided, Katie Henry and I have decided that it's the year of the microbit 2018. And it's a really simple way to start using integrating technology. And they're really cool. And Vicky is going to tell you right now, give you a little bit, if you don't know what the microbit is, the BBC microbit. Vicky, do you know that didn't they give microbits? They started about 3 years ago, giving them to every 4th grade student in Great Britain. Is that how? Okay, no, go ahead. Tell me what I did.
Not 4th grade.
5th grade?
Every year 7 student, which is equivalent to our 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's the microbit's a tiny little board. It's a microcontroller. It's not a full computer because it can only hold one program at a time. So you can program something and put it on there, and then the next time you program something, you wipe out what's already there and replace it. It's really small though, so it's like a little over 1.5 inches tall by about 2 inches wide. It's actually centimeters, 4 centimeters by 5 centimeters.
Right, we have to go in UK terms, right, with that.
We don't speak that here. So
not especially in Oregon.
Yeah. Especially not. Yeah, I mean, but Techlandia does have a wide range. I get a little update here or there where we're the featured, podcast, and we do get some audience outside of there. So you could be speaking to like 2 other people that are from a different country.
But what I like about it is it's a really inexpensive way to get into physical computing. It takes things off of the screen and makes it physically do something on this device. And it's a very inexpensive way to do it. If you're buying in bulk, you can get them very cheap, like if you're buying them for a whole district. Even if you just walk into a store, we have Fry's Electronics down here, which sells them, and they're like $16.50 for the board, the USB cord, and the battery pack that goes with it. So, pretty cheap to get started with physical computing. And there's multiple ways you can program it, because people hear, this it looks like just like bare computer stuff, and how do I program that? There's block-based coding. But if you want to get more sophisticated, you can do it in JavaScript, Python. You can even get into C and other languages like that if you wish to. But it can do all kinds of things. These guys on the front, which is really hard to see, are little LEDs, and you can program those. So you can see letters and words and pictures and things. There's 2 buttons on it you can program. So if I press a button, it'll do something. It also has sensors, though, which makes it really cool, because so often, like if you go more sophisticated with physical computing like Arduino, you have to buy all the sensors. The board has no sensors on it, and the board's more expensive than this. But this has a compass, an accelerometer, a temperature sensor, a light sensor. It also lets you wirelessly communicate via Bluetooth, so you can do things on your phone or via a radio signal, so you can talk to two microbits can talk to one another. It's got little pins down at the bottom that you can alligator clip in and connect other things to it. Like our favorite thing to connect, the first thing we always do is the kids discover they can write music on it, but there's no speaker on this. But you can, with 2 alligator clips and just a normal set of headphones that plug in with the jack, you can have it play the music on there, because you can just wire the thing in. You don't have to strip any wires. You don't have to like take your headphones apart. It's just alligator clipping it on, and then you can hear what you programmed. Or you can buy speakers and things for it too. But if you've got headsets that would work, you can try those. So that's
it's funny. I think the people at Apple just said headphone jack. What's that?
Yeah.
Right. I feel like the microbit's kind of like Brian. Brian can only hold one program at a time too. I was holding that one for like at least 2 minutes. That was my joke. Vicky, I do want to tell you that I'm going to give you an update right now because I get this update. I don't know if Brian gets this from. Check this out. But we are actually a featured podcast in the top 100 K-12 in the following countries. Not America, because nobody likes us in America. We are currently number 57 in Finland, number 66 in Indonesia, and number 70 in Cambodia. There you go. I just wanted you to know that I officially know that we do have some listeners abroad. And you know what? If I want to be ranked 57, it's definitely Finland. I'll take that.
When's the tour start?
I don't know. Maybe anybody in Finland, if you'd like Brian, Vicky, and I to come and speak, we're happy to come and travel and talk about the microbit that is there. Now, Vicky, what is it that attracted you? I like the microbit, but I know that young Brian and I were little Picademy nerds for the second Picademy, so we're kind of we like those things. What drew you to the microbit as a thing that you're like, okay, I'm going to start? Because I feel like when you're teaching, you just did Orange County Q and you did a presentation on it, so you're taking people through it. What attracted you to it, and you thought, okay, I agree with old iPad Sammy, this is the year of the microbit?
Well, I wanted to bring more physical computing in to my kids because I find when they do that, it gels things, and it's much more engaging than, they enjoy Scratch. But when you hook a Makey up and now I can control Scratch with, Play-Doh and, alligator clips, that's awesome, But I wanted places to go beyond a Makey. And, I had a few Lego We-Dos, the first, the We-Do ones, which we use in some of the younger grades. We use Makey. And then I have Arduinos because I got a grant for those. But those are tougher. They're kind of like Raspberry Pi-ish, except you're programming them in C. So it's a little tougher. And I've used those with my middle schools. Like I tend to use those with 8th grade. And I needed something in the middle. And so I too went to Picademy. I went last summer. And
look at us. We're so good. Yay, good for us.
And so I've got a few Pis. The problem is I love the Raspberry Pi, but it's really not a $35 computer.
Oh yeah.
I have to, if I'm going to teach it, I want a SenseHat and I want a camera at the very least. So it's not a $35 computer. So for me, with no budget, the microbits fit that price point. And I felt it was a good fit for my upper elementary, for my 4th, 5th, maybe 6th graders to get into. So, I kind of have a whole range of things I'm doing. I do the Lego We-Dos, I do Makeys. I've got my microbit for like upper elementary, and then I get into, I might do Pis. I've also got circuit playgrounds that I put into middle school as well. So this just kind of fit in price point wise. It's really easy. I enjoy things that deal with making too. Like I can program this. For example, I might have some kids help me at open house. And what we'll do is program a name badge for them, make some kind of holder, and they'll wear it. And it will say, ask me about microbits. And then they can go over and demo it or something. So it'll be some kind of badge they can wear that's a simple program. They can write it, have it say what they want, and they can make, a badge holder for it to make it, so they can wear it. So there's a lot you can do with it beyond just coding it. So, basically, I'm cheap, so that really.
That's good. It is probably one of the cheaper things you can, cheaper price points you can get into for physical computing. I can't think of anything else that would be cheaper. Makey is probably kind of on par with it a little bit because how much are Makey's like 30 now? Or what are they? A little bit more.
They're more, but
They're more.
there's a new Kickstarter right now for something called a Fun Key, which is it's a makey basically, but its base price, if you just want the board, is $10. So and it's like a makey, but with more than just the few things, it's got more than just the arrow keys and the space bar and stuff. So
I feel like Brian was listening to you there, and he thought, you know what? Sam Patterson did Beyond the Hour of Code. I am now going to write the book Beyond the Makey. There it is, right there, Brian. I just got your first book for you. There it is.
All right, there we go. No,
Burgess, sign him up.
Where is it? We can code like a pirate. No, when I first got, oh
my gosh, why are we not doing code like a pirate? That's totally a thing. Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Someone is going to write code like a pirate next. Dave Burgess will get somebody to do that. I had a big Twitter fight the other day talking about books and authors and all this stuff.
Oh, I saw that.
Code like a pirate will be a thing. I definitely guarantee that. Code like a pirate's a thing.
No, the other day when I got the starter set for microbit, I just had the card, that was it. But then it came with all the alligator clips, and it reminded me of a makey. But like Vicky, like you're saying, like if you're introducing like a succession, start with makey, then progress to the microbit, then lead to Arduino, and then possibly then to Raspberry Pi.
Right.
Like for me, I jumped in Raspberry Pi, and you're right. $35 is you get the board. You don't get the keyboard, the monitor, the camera, the mini screen, the Sense hat. Yeah. So it adds up. So, but if you're looking like the 30,000 foot view, you're factoring price and functionality. You can't go wrong with the microbit as an introductory step forward.
Right. That's how I felt, is it fit right into that progression of physical computing with my students. So,
Vicky, will you run us through your session a little bit that you did at Orange County Q and talk about what you did. Now, you said you would have rather have had, of course, more time to work with it, but in a 45-minute session, what did that kind of look like for the educators at Q, and did they get excited about it?
Oh yeah, they definitely got excited. Initially, I go through a short intro to the board, kind of like we just did.
Like you just did, right?
Then we talk a little bit about safety concerns. They have a really cute cartoon that they have for students on safety. Like they've got somebody in a bathtub using it with a "don't do this." Don't give it to little babies because they may eat it, that kind of thing. But we kind of go over those because it is a bare board on the back. It has wiring. And if you've got it plugged in and you're touching that wiring, it's possible to short it out. So we go through with the kids of, you're touching bare, wiring on a board, so let's not touch the edges and that kind of stuff. So we kind of just went over that. Talked about grounding yourself because it's been really dry down here and there's a lot of static electricity. And I really hate to hear that static go off when you plug that USB in and you've got it plugged into the microphone. Please, release that first. So, and then we went over the different code editors, but we used the blocks editor because with a 45-minute session, I'm not going to try and teach somebody Python. Since it doesn't even have an emulator in the Python one. So the really cool thing about the blocks editor is even if you didn't have enough microbits for everybody, you can write your program in the blocks editor and see it working before you try and plug it into a microbit. So you can if let's say you didn't have enough to get a class set of microbits, I like to pair kids anyway, so putting 2 on is not a problem. But let's say you only had a few. People could still write the code in the blocks editor, and then when they got their chance with the actual physical device, they could plug it in and see it, download it and stuff. We went over downloading because that is always a stumbling block. I don't know if you ran into that at all.
A little bit. We were on Chromebooks. What are you using when you do it with them?
We're on a desktop, but kids don't understand, downloading and finding and moving to the they just don't get it. I find it's a great teaching tool because that's one of the things I want kids to understand, where files go on a device and how you can get back at them and how you can find them. Kids don't pay attention. They download something and I don't know where it went. And so this gives me a chance. It also gives me a chance to teach the term download versus upload because they always confuse those. They like to say upload and it's like they're really downloading. And so that.
These sound like a lot of the teachers in my district, actually. Oh, but sorry, teachers. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Teach them to
You're all great. You're all great. You know what a download is. You know when you download stuff and where it goes.
No, they don't. A lot of people don't. So this is a good thing, and it teaches them, and they pull it over. And so because you have to download it, because it compiles it into a hex file, and then you pull it over. Because I teach computer science, I also talk when I'm talking to the upper elementary or lower middle school. I like to talk about abstraction. So you've got multiple levels of abstraction going on here because you're writing it in a blocks based where it's just a block you're pulling in, but you can then click over and see what that is in JavaScript, which is a true programming language. And then when you compile it, it actually puts it into hexadecimal. And if you open that file, like in
that's crazy.
It doesn't look like anything, but that is the code. The hexadecimal is the code that the microbit needs to run. So it shows them, you're writing it, you're using an Englishy thing. You're just using pictures that you're dragging and snapping together like Legos, but it's ultimately ending up here. And that's what's running on your device here. So, and the first time that goes over, even with teachers, and they see, because I always start with hello world, I always start with, but we don't just say hello world. Our string always has your name in it somehow. Hi, I am, or, just your name or whatever. The first time they see that scroll across, that's always magic. And it's much more magic to see it on the microbit than to see it on the screen. Even though it's the same thing and they saw it run, is just to see it actually come across as like, cool.
Cool, right. I feel like one of the things so when you use it's the Microsoft Make Code block code editor for it, and there's a little picture of the microbit next to it. So here's what I found, Vicky, with the 5th graders I was doing. They were programming and then they just would put it on the simulator and they're like, oh, look, I did it. And I'm like, well, all right, yeah, but get it to the actual microbit, right? And they're like, finally I kept going, I'm going like, okay, that's the simulator. Now you can make this little guy that we have right here do it, or else I wouldn't have had to buy those for $15 each, with a little micro USB. So I feel like once they're like, oh, okay. But they totally get into the simulator, which is why you could probably do some of these activities and not actually have a microbit some of these first activities, don't you think?
Yeah, and to get them familiar with the block, with the environment, sure. And then they've already, and I don't know if you've noticed, you don't have accounts on there, but if you use the same device and go to the Make Code again, it remembers your programs. So as long as you're on the same device, the programs are still there. So they could go back if you're waiting for microbits to be delivered, for example, and you want to get started, feel free, get started, and then they can download them and run them. That way, the download is an important part, and yeah, it's a big purple button. You'd think they'd recognize that they need to click it, but no.
I think it's funny too because it's like when the microbits were there, and they didn't get the same microbit like the next time we followed up with the lesson. They're like, oh look, I did that. I'm like, no, download your new code. That's what the person on the microbit before you did. That's not your code, because the code will just stay there until you re-download it and put it there. But so I thought that was funny too. That was like a little trick that I thought was hilarious for them. But whatever.
And the interesting thing is I got this question at the session was, well, what if I want to start over and I want it to start with the little, because I don't know if you played the stuff that comes up when you very first plug it in. It's got a program on it. And that program actually does multiple things. There's a couple of games, and it has you like try and draw a circle around it. There's a catch game, I think. Anyway, so people want to know, well, how do I get that code back? And you can. It'll be one of the links we'll provide if you want to reset it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. I don't between classes, but I probably will like for next year. Okay. That's the other thing. My kids wanted to keep it because it's small. They go, can I take it home? And it's like, well, no, it's cheap, but it's not cheap as in I want to replace it every year.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
We did the Hello World with the teachers. Then we did a thing with, you can program the little LEDs to show like emoticons and things like that. And so we did one of those, with either people did the blinking heart, or they did a smiley frowny face or whatever. And they used the buttons for that. When I press the A, it smiles. When I press the B, it frowns. Okay. If I press them both, then it, toggles them back and forth. It does a loop of toggling them back and forth. And that's typically what I do with my kids too. So we start getting into, here's how you set the loops up. And if you want it to wait in between, here's how you use the commands to make it pause for a bit and that kind of stuff. So, and then I set them loose in the make code. There is a section where if you say you want to do a new project, you can look at projects and click on them, and it will guide you through how to make a compass or how to make one of the fun things to do for Valentine's Day. Quickly get some, and you can do it, love meter, because that requires you to basically make a circuit again. We're back into the makey stuff, and you can remind them of that because you have to make a circuit with a couple of students, and then it'll tell you whether you're compatible in love. My kids wrote it as the BFF meter because they didn't.
Oh, see, there it goes. I know, it's cool. That's one where you shake it, right? And then it gives you like a little rating between like 1 and 100, right? Isn't that the way you do it?
Show you how you, but you have to have the circuit closed in order to do it. So it's kind of fun.
That's cool. I did the beat. You would think I did the frowny face, smiley face one because I'm such a grump, but I didn't. I did the beating hearts, Brian. You know why? Because I'm very sentimental like that.
That's also a good Valentine's Day one. So.
That is a good Valentine's Day one. That is good. All right. So when you're doing this, what would you say is, so they have kind of the programs that are on there that you can do to start out. Would you say that the teacher has to know a ton about it beforehand? What would you say is like the bare minimum? If let's say I have, like I do right next to me, let's say I have 20 and I have the little micro USB and I have Chromebooks. I'm going to hook it in, go to the Make Code site. What would you say the teacher needs to do before they use it with like their class of 5th graders?
I might run through a couple of the things just so I know how it works and so I understand how to download and find the files, because you will get asked that a million times. But honestly, to get started, you don't have to know a lot. And there are tons and tons and tons of teacher resources on the microbit.org site. Total lessons. Some of them have quizzes and stuff you can even give the kids. And I don't tend to do that, but because I don't like people.
You don't do that? Oh my gosh! You don't give quizzes, test all that stuff? No, but I mean, it is super cool. When I'm hoping that this week, when the 5th graders go in to teach, I feel like we're gonna try and press a little bit, and they're gonna go teach with one of our really willing 3rd grade teachers, because I feel like these 3rd graders are pretty solid with their stuff. Would you say that's about I think you said 4th before. Would you say that 4th is about the grade level where you would start it, or would you start it at 3rd?
3rd can do it. If your 3rd graders can do Scratch, they can do this. I tend to do Lego We Do in 2nd and Makey in 3rd, and then start this kind of 4th, 5th-ish. But it depends on what fits into you. they have to be able to read, because the blocks are not just arrows and things. They have words on them. And so you want comfortable readers. I wouldn't typically go lower than that. I mean, if you've got great readers, they could do it. But, you know, I typically, like I said, I'm trying to fit it into a continuum, and I don't want them to have seen it for 3 years in a row, because, you know.
That's a good, I mean, that's good solid advice. So you do the Lego We Do in second, you do the Makey in third, and then you're thinking microbit in fourth. That's kind of a good like base for some people. I feel like that makes me feel better, because I was just saying to someone that I really wanted them to try out Makeys with a third grade teacher. I was like, let's try this a little bit.
Oh yeah, and, do it, because, you know, if they're programming in Scratch, that's a great place to start putting those Makeys in. You know, they created that maze where they're using arrow keys to get around the maze. Now control it with your Makey. You know, I mean, it's a great fit in what I do with my third graders in Scratch. So it just, and that brings that controller outside, you know, of the, you know, keyboard. Now it's not the keyboard anymore. It's a physical device, which always adds to the fun.
When we sit there and think about, so after I did the couple lessons and I just had the microbit and the USB cord with the Chromebook, I was like, okay, what do you think are the tchotchkes, as we like to as we like to term them, the tchotchkes? Like, Brian, you mentioned you have the microbit starter kit. Where did you get that one from?
I got mine off of Amazon. But
is it SparkFun?
No, it's microbit. It's
just microbit. Okay.
Yeah, BBC microbit. But looking at that link that was in Vicky's notes, I'm already looking at that site, the Tech Will Save Us site.
I love that site.
Oh my goodness. Some of the kits on there, I mean,
they're awesome.
For that one is really cheap and you can build that car.
I just bought the Microbot kit. I'm going to use it with probably my 6th graders, and because it's a cheap way to, you know, I love robotics and I have robots, but I've always wanted to get into let's build a robot. So pricey again. Whereas with this, the Microbot kit from Tech Will Save Us is $30. So you're talking $30 plus, you know, the $16 here or less if you've gotten them in bulk. So say $45, you can build a robot. Now it's not a super sophisticated robot, but you can do some stuff with it. And SparkFun also has a bot kit that's cool. It's a little more pricey, a little fancier. They just announced that they've got the thing that works with the Hummingbird robotics, which will be very cool, because Hummingbird has always had to work tethered, and the microbit's going to allow it to not be tethered anymore. So you don't have to tether your robot anymore in order to run things. So that'll be cool. Again, I don't have those because they're out of my price range, but that's okay. I played with them. I love them. Hyperduino, I don't know if you guys know that. It's
sure, we know Hyperduino. I think I got a free one at ISTE in Denver when I just taught somebody how to use it. It was pretty cool, right? Isn't that Roger Wagner's thing?
That's Roger Wagner's thing. He has a thing called the MakerBit, which is his interface to the microbit that allows you to attach motors and things. So if you get his MakerBit, you can do robots with it and other stuff, but robots. And the kit I really want, there's one, it's from the UK. It's called a robot unicorn. I really want that. Sorry, I want to make a robot unicorn, because you can pick your horn style.
That sounds good. We need more unicorns in the world.
So.
We need more unicorns. We need more unicorns in ed tech, don't we, Brian? We need more rainbow unicorns is what we need.
That's what we're looking for them.
I don't know. We're always looking for them, Vicky, but sometimes there's just those self-promoters, those shameless self-promoters on the Twitters, and they get to you after a while. They get you down. So we're going to link. I'm going to be up because Vicky put a lot of work into our doc, and we're going to take it. I think I'll just make it into a Adobe Spark page, but we'll take it. And so all the stuff that we're talking about, we'll put some links on there so you can take a look at it. I got the one that I bought, and I don't think I have it in here with me. Well, I did get was working with we have a Spark Fun guy up here. And so what they're going to do, Vicky, in I want to say, I'm looking at my calendar, it's about a month away. We're helping Derek from Spark Fun. And so Derek is going to, he trained us and he gave us the starter kit from Spark Fun and put us through like a 3-hour hands-on session, kind of like you said that you wished you had at OCQ. And so he's going to try and train like 200 to 300 people. And then we're going to be out there, and it's going to be we're in Beaverton. We're right at the Nike headquarters. So they're going to have it in one of the Nike buildings, which will be the first time I've passed by there, but I don't get to go into the Nike, I'm not testing out shoes or anything for them. And we're going to help in the audience, just kind of like troubleshoot people as he kind of leads people through a 200 to 300 person training on the microbit. I know. And I think this will be interesting. When he told me, I just thought he was coming in to do some cool training with us. And it turns out that, he's like, no, we're going to try and set the bar high for the Oregon. I don't know what it even is. I think it might even be just like administrator, like CTOs of that decide all that stuff. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Has some really cool kits because they've got the inventor kit that lets you light up LEDs and all that kind of stuff like you do with like with
Raspberry Pi.
They also have a weather station kit, which is
weather station looks awesome. Yeah.
And they have the bot kits. They have a little like mini arcade kit too that you can use to build, like mini arcade games with it. So they've got some fun kits. Yeah, that can get pricey again, but
that's okay. That's that Brian and I have a spending problem, right? I actually have the Spark Fun arcade kit too. I haven't pulled that one out yet, but I do have that one. So it's interesting. I'm interested when they come up from Hummingbird, when Katie Henry comes up to train us a week from tomorrow. I'm really interested because she's like, I'm going to show you this prototype, but they already announced it. So I'm sure it's not going to be a prototype anymore because they're selling them on their website right now. So that'll be interesting to see because we do have some of those little Hummingbird. She's going to bring up some of the Hummingbird kits to train some of our teachers. So it's interesting. I know it's fun. We try and do stuff here in Beaverton. We really do.
Good.
So is that going to be the first? Is that going to be the first Microbit Academy?
I don't know. I will definitely, when Derek does that training, Derek's a super smart guy for Spark Fun. He used to work in the neighboring town of Hillsboro, which is our arch rival. I don't really know, but so I'm just going to pretend they're our arch rival. But he used to work there, and then now he just writes like books and curriculum for Spark Fun. So he'll really go. We said that this was we had already declared it because he gave me my first microbit. He slipped me one real quick before they were even selling them, and he said, it's going to be the year of the microbit. You should. I'm like, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. So I feel like, don't you feel like, Vicky, they'll just keep, like Hummingbird came out with their new stuff today. Don't you feel like this is something that if people jumped on now and kind of just even got their kids familiar with, they're going to be like there's going to be a lot of cooler stuff that's made. Like you said, you can make robots and arcade kits. It just sounds like there's going to be so much more. Like there's so many little electronics companies out there. They want to sell stuff and add on things for it. I feel like it's just going to keep getting better with stuff. Don't you think?
Oh, I think there'll be more and more additions and more ties to other products. Like there's ways now, there's a lot of things out now or starting to come out now about using Raspberry Pi with the microbit. So it's one of those where I don't think it's going to die. I think there'll just be more and more ideas and things you can do. One of my favorites, and I haven't done it yet with kids though, but because I haven't gotten a class that's into this, but I love Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
And in the UK, they actually did live lessons where they had pre-recorded from one of the doctors. They're having this problem and you have to solve it. And they had, classes of kids in, and they used the compass to like find the Dalek. And then they made, their own using the microbit. They made their own like screwdriver and thing, so they did all these kind of fun things. Problem is we can't see the videos from it. So some of them you can find, but most of them say, "Oh, you're not in the UK," but you can get lessons. They have total lesson plans, including PowerPoints for the presentation of setting it up, total lesson plans on this, and they use all the different sensors and things on the microbit all around a Doctor Who theme. So if you've got, classes that are into Doctor Who, that would be kind of fun to do.
My daughter would love that. She's a big Doctor Who fan. Well, right. That's cool. I feel like that's why. So how long do you think they've had? How long have they been giving them to Year 6 students in the UK? I want to say I've seen it 3 or 4 years ago. Is where I was like, I really wanted.
I think it was 3 years ago, or it may have been 3 years ago they announced, and 2 years ago they got them. Didn't give them this year because they just don't have the money to keep giving them to every year or whatever student, because they gave them to them. It wasn't applying them to the schools for the Year 7 students. They did take them home. So unlike me, who says, no, you're giving that back.
It would be cool. Maybe we should. I was talking with we have people that work and technology people that work just at a high school or middle school. We don't have it for elementary yet. And I was talking with one of our good people, Crystal Wilson, and she works at a Loa High School right down the street. And she said she was so close, and I didn't even know this. She said she was so close last year to buying a microbit for every freshman student, and they just ran out of money. And I was like, that would have been something so cool. I would have been there with her fighting the fight on that one, because she said she was super close. And they just kind of, Oregon cut back the money. So then that's all you can do. But that would have been so cool. I was like, wow, Crystal. She went up she was already up there in my book. She went up 7 notches in my book right there.
Really awesome. Yeah.
Brian, I was going to ask you, Vicky, normally what we do is, and I didn't hold up my end of the bargain today. We usually do a little Kickstarter corner for this. And last time we didn't have Brian here, but we had Tara Linney on, and she had actually just Kickstarted her book. So I figured the whole thing was basically a Kickstarter corner. And then Brian and I backed Tara's book. Did you back that, right, Brian? We both backed it.
I backed it. Yeah.
Yes. You know what, Tara, don't yell at me. I backed it, but then I pulled it back. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that to Tara Linney. She is so nice. But I heard you say that, Vicky, I heard you talk about one of the Kickstarters. What was the Kickstarter that's on right now that you said is kind of like similar to Makey Makey?
Yeah, it's called Fun Key.
Fun Key. Okay, I'll write it down.
Fun Key STEM. And it's it's very much like a Makey Makey board, but it has if you pull it up, you'll see, how with a Makey Makey board you can do 6 key pianos. This has 18 keys.
Oh wow.
Okay. And stuff. So it's cheap, if you just get the board, it's $9. If you get the board, USB and alligator clips, it's $29. Okay. So it's pretty cheap.
There we go. Okay, so then we'll put the link to that one in the Spark page. Brian, that was my Kickstarter corner, courtesy of Vicky Sedgwick. Did you have one today, Brian? I know that did you get on the dock and put one in?
I don't have one. I'm still waiting for one I ordered almost a couple months ago. It's just a camera that I'm waiting for. It's a 360 camera. I already have the Ricoh, and my big complaint on the Ricoh Theta is the clarity on it. And so this one that's supposed to come out I'm supposed to receive it any day now. It's supposed to have 4K video with the 360. So I'm waiting for that to come, and I'm just still waiting.
I know. I feel like that's what I was going to say, Brian. I know that we have a spending problem on Kickstarter, but there's been a lot of stuff lately where I've been looking at it. I'm like, there hasn't been a ton of stuff that I actually have been kind of holding back a little bit this time. I've been holding back and kind of waiting around for something.
Yeah,
I did the Cody Rocky or whatever, right? Did you do Cody Rocky?
I didn't do Cody Rocky. I did. Oh, I just got a notification. There's a new coding game. It's a card game, I think, by the makers that did Cards Against Humanities.
Oh no!
And it teaches code that way.
Oh, see, you already sold me right there. It's already done. It's already locked in. Yeah, so I feel like there's been maybe sometimes that's a lesson for Kickstarter Corner. Maybe sometimes it's good to go ahead and have stuff and buy stuff, but then maybe wait it out a little bit until some of the stuff starts to come in, because sometimes that stuff can come a little bit later than the production can get backed up and all that stuff. So anyway, I've been kind of holding back a little bit. So I feel like that's good. Brian, we're making good steps then, I feel like.
We're getting better.
We're getting grown up. We're getting a little bit more grown up. We can't just
This is called being a grown up, yeah.
At least for now, until there's more cool stuff on Kickstarter.
Right. Yeah, once there's something cool, I'm done. I'm buying it. That's no problem. Well, anyway, Vicky, thank you for being on and introducing us to the microbit. And you gave us so many resources. There's no way I can't make that into a cool Adobe Spark page with all the links to share, right?
I've already started a shopping list of what Vicky's shared.
Yeah, I know. It's good. We'll put all the lessons and ththings on there. And really, I guess the thing to think about with the microbit is, if you are a person like myself that is like, I just need to spend $45 and try something or whatever, you can get 3 microbits for $45 and put them in a little station or something and have kids try them out. But you don't even need that. You can just go to the Make Code website and try it on the simulator. And then if the kids kind of think that that's fun, it's a good way to get it. It's the cheapest way to probably get right now, besides that Kickstarter, which who knows when that's going to come along. But it's probably the cheapest way to get into physical computing right now. And I feel like that's good, because I feel like physical computing brings in everybody, as we were talking about with Tara Linney, like gender equity and in computer science. I feel like the computing in the physical environment helps get everybody on board, regardless of color, race, sex, religion, whatever. I feel like it brings in everybody. That's my theme right there. I'm sticking with it. Coding to unite everybody.
Well, and the cool thing is with this is if you bring it into a maker environment too, so you create something for, like, one of my favorite things to do with it is virtual pets. Anybody have a Tamagotchi when they were?
Oh my gosh, that was when I started teaching Tamagotchis.
So code your own with a microbit, and then once you've got it coded, build something around it so it looks like the pet. Right. So you can, build a whole thing and make it look like, if I've done a dog, I can make it look like a dog, and make this, make the front part be the face or the whatever. And so now you've got that maker environment in there, and you can decide, how long you have to wait before you feed it, and how long, if you don't feed it, it dies. Of course, anytime you do it with 5th or 6th graders, they will want to kill it. So
yes,
they will want and use the skull and crossbones image. It's like, that's the fun part. But
right.
But it gives them that, and you could even turn that into something curricular where you say, no, you're going to code it like you would do it like for a real animal. So you're going to code it like, what would a real animal need? What kinds of things would they need? And you're going to code that in if you want to be more serious. But I find it's fun just to let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's something to be said about being serious, and there's something to be said about giving kids creative license a little bit and letting them personalize their own learning a little bit. Right. And as long as they're not crazy out of control. Like when I was doing the Sphero lesson today, Brian, it's like when you do the introduction, like, oh my gosh, I told you not to drive. You've got to code that thing. No driving. No driving. And it's like, I'm like, if I tell you one more time, I'm taking it away. No more driving. And then they listen. So it's good. They're like, are we code driving it? And I said, no, drive it with the code, but quit trying to get I'm like, my little doofus, not even in kindergarten son, can drive the Sphero. It's not rocket science, okay? Code it, you silly doofs. So anyway, Vicky, thank you for being on here all the way from the South Bay down in Los Angeles. We appreciate you. Brian, do you have anything coming up? Vicky, go ahead and give them your Twitter handle too, and where they can find you with your resources a little bit.
My Twitter handle is Visions by Vicky with a Y. Vicky with a
There
Y.
you go. There you go. And you can do that. You can find Brian Briggs at Bry Briggs on the
That's
Twitters. And Brian, anything coming up on Check This Out lately?
We have an interview coming up with the people from Tumble Podcast.
Whoa, you have an interview on Check This Out? Get out of here.
We do, yes. Tumble Podcast is a great one for getting students in elementary to listen to podcasts. So they retell some stories and they have high production value. So actually, Ryan's going to be doing that. I'm not going to be able to make that appointment because the guy's based out of Barcelona. So, but and also coming up, Vicky, will you be at Q?
I will.
Nice. And I'll be at Q. John?
I will not be at Q this year. I'm sitting it out.
I'm still getting
I'm sorry. I there's a lot going on right there. It's not as connected to my spring break as it normally is. So it made it a little bit tougher this year.
You'll be there in spirit.
I will be there in spirit. And then, it was funny when we were listening to the podcast about podcasts on your way to Q. You know, I thought that was fun. And then you're like showing me pictures of Sherman's, Brian.
Yeah.
You're tweeting pictures of Sherman's at me. And then that gets me going. I'm like, maybe I need to hop on that plane and find somebody I can always crash on Reuben Hoffman's couch. I'm sure if I had to get my Sherman's at 7 a.m.
You can crash with us. We'll save the tub for you. Throw a pillow in a blanket.
You know I'm not picky. I'm not picky at all. Anyway, well, that'll be a good time. I'll be sorry to miss it this year. I don't think. Are they not doing the? Did we get a clarification? Are they not doing the
Ed camp?
The Ed camp style, right? The unconference. Sorry, right? Do I call it the Ed camp? The unconference.
I don't know. You probably tweet out to Nora. She'll know.
I thought I tweeted it out, and I didn't think. I thought I heard cricket, so I'm like, okay, that was my answer because I thought I had Carippo in that one.
Tag like, Nora.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, Nora would know.
Maybe not, only because they had to drop one of the hotels, so they don't have as much space.
Oh, that's too bad. Are they doing the Toast? They're doing the Tosa hangout though, right, Brian?
The Tosa playground.
Tosa playground. I like the unconference better. It's better that we'll see how the Tosas are. But Brian and Vicky, will you keep those Tosas in check down there? Tell them that it's not all about them. Okay, please tell. I feel like I see too many pictures of them now, and I feel like they're getting big heads. I feel like
we need you there,
and they're just like Starbucks. Well, I know, but there's only so much grouch to go around. And remember, tell them that really, when it comes down to it, we know that there's teachers out there, and they're just at Starbucks all the time. We know this.
Yeah.
About that. And they're at Starbucks, and they act like they've just done this training, but really they just all got like a venti mocha latte, and they're sitting there in their little picture. So anyway, well, Vicky, thanks so much for being on here. We appreciate it. We'll make sure that when we tweet out the link to this podcast, we will tag your biggest fan, LS_Carl the Canadian. Now Canadian. All right, thanks everybody. Poor Carl up in Canada.
Hey, gonna be
I don't know. Is he not coming down for you? Is he coming down for Q?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. He only has so many American days that he can take, and he takes them all in Hawaii, so that's what he does. Anyway, thanks so much, Vicky. We appreciate your wisdom and all the links. Wait till you see this, people. All the links that we put on here because she did a good job with it. And we will catch you on the flip side.